Sajin, Lumi, I will always be your protector. Lumi, I am grateful for your friendship. Flashback concludes. Aegis stealthily approaches Lumi's garden, completely concealing their presence. They spot a figure dressed in pitch-black tactical gear patrolling the perimeter, skillfully hiding their identity. Aegis continues their approach and discovers the lifeless body of a woman lying on the ground, next to a shattered tanto. She is wearing the same attire as the mysterious man. Close by, Lumi lies on the floor, her body covered in wounds, with a deep stab wound through the bottom of her mouth. Two men are attempting to pry a sword from her grip, their expressions filled with sorrow and distress. Aegis moves closer to Lumi and observes. She is severely injured. Upon closer inspection, they realize that although her soul is damaged, it remains intact, indicating that she is alive but unconscious. Standing up beside her, Aegis tries to piece together what transpired. After careful consideration, they deduce that Lumi was in the midst of her training when she suddenly felt an ominous presence urging her to move forward. Without hesitation, she obeyed only to be attacked from behind. The wound was excruciating and somehow prevented her from utilizing her healing abilities. Turning around, she demanded, "Who are you?" Yet, no response came. Swiftly, she readied her sword and charged at the man before her. However, before she could reach him, another assailant thrust a sword through her arm. Reacting swiftly, she managed to step back, narrowly avoiding a devastating blow from a female wielding a massive hammer. As she struggled to regain her footing, her head narrowly escaped being severed by a fourth individual. Lumi quickly noticed that each of them bore the same emblem, a black Talon. Despite her dire circumstances, Lumi managed to create some distance between herself and her attackers. She knew that escape was futile. The first man lunged at her, stabbing her in the stomach. Seizing the opportunity, she retaliated by stabbing him in the foot and inflicting a minor cut on his arm. He hastily retreated, allowing the second man to make his move, wielding the tanto that had wounded her back. Lumi swiftly struck, shattering his weapon in half and causing him to stumble backward. She then pierced his hand with her own blade. The woman makes a swift attempt to strike Lumi with the hammer again, but Lumi is able to anticipate her move. With incredible speed, Lumi spins her sword and thrusts it into the woman's heart, causing her to slowly bleed out on the floor. Without wasting any time, Lumi charges towards the second unarmed man. However, she is caught off guard as the first man stabs her in the back of her leg. Just when she thinks things couldn't get worse, the third man reappears, ready to decapitate her, but Lumi manages to dodge, causing the blade to plunge into the bottom of her mouth and pierce her brain, rendering her unconscious. Aegis, realizing what has happened, returns to Lumi's side and kneels beside her motionless body. They notice that Lumi is dreaming about Sajin, her recently deceased best friend, whom Aegis was responsible for killing. Aegis quickly decides to communicate with Lumi through her dream, using telepathy, saying, "I will only allow you to fight me if you eliminate the person who sent the black talons after you." Determined, Aegis stands up and approaches the two men who are still trying to retrieve the sword. In their mind, they convey, "That sword you're looking for isn't even here," before forcefully smashing the men's heads together, killing them. Aegis then takes a revolver from their side and shoots the third man in the head, ending his life as well. Looking at Lumi, Aegis tends to her wounds and restores her soul. Lumi's face shows anguish, and Aegis walks away. After an unknown amount of time, Lumi wakes up. Aegis is nowhere to be found, but Lumi looks extremely pale. Aegis had appeared in her dream, which had turned into a nightmare, but Lumi understands the message and sets out on a quest to find the deity responsible.